A thriving economy is a good thing, but it puts a heavy burden on the environment. Waste, particularly hazardous waste, is a key factor. The extraction of oil and raw materials gives us many useful products and adds a great deal of comfort to household chores. Then again, these products generate harmful waste products that need to be disposed of in a responsible manner.
Ik werk bij ATM. Wij zijn onderdeel van de Shanks Group en hebben ons gespecialiseerd in het verwerken van gevaarlijk afval. Geen activiteit met een aantrekkelijk imago, maar wel een activiteit waarmee wij onze klanten ontzorgen en tegelijkertijd een groot maatschappelijk belang dienen. Hoe wij dat doen, dat zal ik u laten zien. In principe worden alle afvalstromen op een duurzame en innovatieve manier verwerkt. Met als resultaat dat maar liefst 95% ervan weer gebruikt kan worden als secundaire grondstof of brandstof.
Examples of waste flows include contaminated soil and asphalt containing tar. Contaminated soil is released during remediation of factory premises, landfills or petrol stations. Tar asphalt is released when roads are removed. Wastewater and oil-containing silt are released during the cleaning of oil tankers, but also in production processes and factory maintenance or cleaning. Another example of wastewater is water collected after extinguishing a fire. Household chemical waste originating from waste collection points, such as paint waste products, glues, sealants and resins.
U staat er niet elke dag bij stil, maar wij wel. Vol continu. 24 uur per dag, 7 dagen per week. Het afval wordt aangeleverd middels vrachtwagens en schepen. ATM is namelijk gelegen aan het Hollands Diep.
Each cargo is carefully weighed. In the so-called pre-acceptance phase, the customer has already supplied many details about the nature of the waste. The waste is delivered on the basis of this information. On arrival, waste products are analysed and the information supplied earlier is verified. Then we take a sample for analysis and testing in our laboratory to determine its suitability for processing in our facilities. Following approval by the laboratory, the lorry can be unloaded at the appropriate location. Only then will the green light for processing be given. When processing sludge, we're dealing with mixtures containing oil, water and sediment in different ratios. These three fractions are separated using a so-called decanting technique. A decanter centrifuge is a kind of rotating drum in which the various materials are separated. Heavy sediment will end up at the bottom while oil residues float to the top, with the wastewater in between. The heaviest materials end up below. The sediment is processed in another facility at the ATM site, the pyrolysis plant. The oil that was released is used as a fuel in another plant, the thermal treatment plant. The contaminated wastewater passes through the fluctuation and flotation unit to the biological water purification unit. In the flocculation and flotation unit, or FFU, the contaminated wastewater is collected in a large sedimentation tank. Coagulants and flocculants are added to the water to catch in flocks those substances that were not dissolved in the water, such as tiny oil elements, and floating fixed particles such as heavy metals. As a next step, we inject air bubbles into the water. The flocks will adhere to them and float to the surface, after which they can be skimmed and removed. Now only organic components are left, which are processed biologically in reactors containing bacteria-rich sludge. Addition of pure oxygen will cause these bacteria to convert the remaining waste products into water, carbon dioxide and nitrogen. As a final step, the clean water is passed through a membrane filter for careful analysis and emptied into the public sewage system. Then there's household hazardous waste, such as paint waste, glues and resins. Just like the oil-containing sludge, these are processed in a pyrolysis plant. Household chemical waste, including package material, is first shredded. Next, the shredded waste products are fed through two centrally placed drums using conveyor screws. In high temperature and low oxygen conditions, the products are incinerated incompletely and are partly converted into a flammable gas. This so-called pyrogas is carried to our thermal treatment plant to be used as fuel. This means the pyrolysis plant does not produce any direct emission into the open air.
Wat overblijft is metaalschroot, dat met magneten wordt verwijderd voor hergebruik. En het residu dat wordt afgevoerd voor verdere verwerking of terechtkomt op een stortplaats. Als het gaat om verontreinigde grond en teerhoudend asfalt, worden deze gereinigd in onze thermische reinigingsinstallatie.
On either side of a rotating drum over 50 meters long and 5 meters in diameter, an oil burner is fitted to maintain a high temperature inside the drum. As mentioned before, the oil reclaimed from the oil-containing sludge and the flammable gas from the pyrolysis are used as fuels for heating this rotating drum. The synergy between these various plants ensures no new fuel is needed. Conveyor belts feed the contaminated soil into the drum, and by rotating at a slight inclination, the soil gradually shifts to the far end of the drum. The high temperature causes organic contaminants like tar, oil, grease and petrol to burn, producing gas. After the clean soil has been certified, a conveyor belt carries it off to a nearby company that will use the soil in, for example, road construction.
De duurzame toepassing van de lopende band zorgt voor een minimum aan transportbewegingen tussen ATM en het buurbedrijf. Een dominant beeld van ATM is de grote witte stoompluim uit onze schoorsteen.
The white plume serves as evidence that all pollutants have been removed from the waste gases before being admitted into the open air. Of course, strict environmental standards have to be met for our emissions as well. That is why our waste gas remediation system was designed to produce low emissions. The combustion gases are exhausted from the thermal treatment plant's rotating drum to be burned fully in an afterburning unit. After being expelled from the afterburner, the waste gases are cooled by a combined air and water cooling system. Most of the heat from the waste gases is reclaimed by the air cooling system, or LUVO, to be reused elsewhere on the premises in the form of steam and hot water. After cooling, the waste gases are fed through an electrostatic filter to remove dust particles. After leaving the electrostatic filter, the waste gases pass through 3 washers, which remove all acidic components. Following this washing process, the waste gases, before entering the chimney, pass through a drip tray to remove any dust or moisture left. Ultimately, the remediated waste gases are expelled through the chimney in a controlled fashion. The quality of the waste gases is monitored 24/7 by ATM. The government also performs regular quality checks on our cleaned waste gases.
Zo wordt de gehele verwerkingsketen door ons laboratorium gecontroleerd. Vanaf de aankomst van het afval, de diverse verwerkingsprocessen, producten en restproducten, tot aan de uitstroom van lucht en water naar het milieu. Doordat wij gelegen zijn aan het Hollands Diep, kunnen wij aan onze steiger ook tankschepen reinigen.
It is important that vessels are cleaned thoroughly before receiving a new payload. During the cleaning of the tankers, wastewater is also released, which can be processed in our own wastewater treatment plant. Again, the residual heat released from the waste gas cleaning unit supplies the hot water used for cleaning the ships. All resulting vapours are exhausted and carried off through a vapour elimination system to be finally burned in the waste gas remediation plant. Again, to prevent direct emission into the environment, storage tanks are also integrated into this system. The so-called displacement air, which is released when filling the tanks, is discharged for elimination by our waste gas cleaning unit. ATM can also exhaust vapours from the vessels for elimination in our waste gas remediation plant.
De unieke samenwerking tussen de verschillende installaties op ons terrein zorgt voor een fysiek en energetisch geïntegreerde verwerking van gevaarlijk afval. ATM makes more from waste.